सदाशिवा समारम्भं शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तं वन्दे गुरुपरम्परम् वन्दे गुरुप्रणवानन्दम्. O Lord Shiva, you existed in the beginning without name and form. You are consciousness, the most powerful. You are the creator and you are the created. You took that form so that we can relate to you as we see in this altar this morning. And you've come again as Adi Shankaracharya, and now you've come as spiritual masters in the present age. And one of your coming is Swami Parameshananda ji. Oh, how beautiful and how blessed we are that we have a prophet of the age, that he lived a life and set an example. And this is the greatest thing that we can ask for. For that, let us pay adorations to Swami Parameshananda ji. Om Namo Sri Bhagavate Pranavaya. Om Namo Sri Bhagavate Pranavaya. Namo Namah, Namo Namah, Namo Namah, Namo Namah. Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya, Prabhu Namah Shivaya. Tumhi Brahma Vishnu, Tumhi Maheshwara, Devadi Deva Mahadevaya Namah. Tumhi Brahma Vishnu, Tumhi Maheshwara, Devadi Deva Mahadevaya Namah. Tumhi Harihara, He Trishuladhari, Tomi Bholanath Prabhu Krishna Murari. Om Namo Sri Bhagavate Pranavaya. Om Namo Sri Bhagavate Pranavaya. Om Namo Sri Bhagavate Pranavaya. Devotees, welcome to Mandir again this morning and this Sunday morning. Jamaica, Queens, New York. And I know you're listening from all parts of the world. Thank you so much for joining in. And I hope my intention is to lift all of us up as one big family. Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahana Bhuraktu, Sahaviram Karvavahe, Tejasvinavaditamastu, Ma Vidvishavahe. Let us all grow together physically and mentally and spiritually. Let us not be jealous of each other. Let us work with union, in cooperation, and let us look out for the interest of others. Yes, this morning I want to speak a little about Krishna Bhagwan, because, and when I speak about Krishna Bhagwan, he also is the manifestation of consciousness, as he's given us in the Bhagavad Gita. And before we do that, let us sing this beautiful song, because bhajans, they invoke our devotion and invoke our faith in God. Whoever that God might be, it might be the Christ, it might be the Buddha, it might be the Krishna Bhagwan, it might be Swami Parameshananda ji, it might be Lord Shiva, Mother Durga, who is your deity? But make sure it's a Moksha Guru. Okay? So let's pay adoration to this greatest Guru, Krishna Bhagwan. Krishna Murari, Sudarshandari, मुरली बजाओ ने तेने कहा जो, मुरली बजाओ ने तेने कहा जो, मध्यावरतमा मतराले तोरी, बसदेव को नंदन ले तोरी, बरसा को बोरी चरण ले मोरी, जमुना जताओ ने तेने काजो, जमुना जताओ ने तेने काजो, भक्त सुधामा धरे आए, एक मोती चावल सात मलाई, काछे प्रभुले खाचो को, प्रेम सिखाओ ने तेने काजो, कृष्ण मुरारी सुदर्शनधारी, मुरली बजाओ ने तेने काजो, महाभारत में शास्त्र सुनाए, संसार को आगे मीत लगाए, सारथी वै प्रभु रथ लई माकी, गीत सुनाओ ने तेने कहा जो, गीत सुनाओ ने तेने कहा जो. Oh, that Krishna, we have to understand who is this Krishna when we talk about Krishna. Is this Krishna in the murti that we see on the altar there, blowing the fruit? Or is it Krishna, the five, he would have said, Yagyatat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanam, taratam karma kauntiya mukta sangha samachara. Is it the one that is goading us to become like him? To come up from the animalistic level and go into the social level, and then he will give us his grace? Or is it the Krishna who spoke, Bhumirapo analo vayo kamano buddhirevacha ahankariti anme bhinna prakriti ashtada, bhinna prakriti ashtada. Arjuna, I am the five. These 8 things are me. The 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and space. This is my God as in manifestation. And I am your mind, Arjuna, of the senses, I am your mind. And of course, the 5 elements make up our bodies. I am that too, Krishna. And the intelligence to decipher, decide that what life you want to live. Do we want to know what is created, or do we want to know the creator? Well, all the academics, including the Vedas, fall on the what was created, but we want to know the creator. And here, this is the Krishna we want to know this morning. So the question is, devotees, where are we in terms of our evolution to perfection? Perfection meaning moksha. Because when we are a perfected one, then we will lift ourselves up to that higher level of perfection. So this morning, join with me, because we need to have something to measure where we are in our evolution to perfection. And I think these slokas from chapter 2, verses 54 to 72, Sankhya Yoga, this divine knowledge. So I'll read it, and then I'll read the explanation. Arjuna vacha stita pragyasaka bhasha samadishtasya keshava stita kim pravashita kim ashita vrajeta kim. O Krishna, what then are the signs of the person who, passing through the stage of samadhi, has been able to become steadfast in wisdom? How does he speak, Krishna? How does he sit? And how does he walk? And the Lord is replying, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Pajahati Yada Kaman sarvan pato manogatan atmani atmana tushta stita pragyasta dochyate. O Arjuna, when a man surrenders all his innate desire to, and his spirit remains content in itself, he deserves to be described as a stable-minded person. How beautiful it is. Stay with me and we'll just read them too because of essence of time. Dukkeshu anavignamana Sukeshu vikataspriya vitaraga bhaya krodha stitadir muniruchyate. That person who remains unruffled in the midst of sorrow, indifferent to happiness, who has mastered passions, fear and anger, may he be called a stable-minded person. Ya sarvatna anavisnehas tatta prapya subha subham na vindati na dveshti tasya pragya pratishtati. Stable-minded is he who has no fondness for anything, who is not elated or provoked to disgust if good luck comes his way or bad luck overtakes him. Om Yada samarte chayam kurmo angani sarvasa indriyani indriyartevyas tasya pragya pratishtita. Him we call stable-minded, who withdraws his senses from the sense objects, much in the same way as the tortoise withdraws into its own shell when it feels that it's in jeopardy. Om Vishaya Vinivarate Tante Niraharasya Dehina Rasavarjam Rasopyasya Param Dushta Nivartate. Sense objects cease to have their appeal for the man, the person who desires desists from enjoying them with his senses. But the hankering goes on lingering. This too, Arjuna, vanishes when the stable-minded man has his vision of the Supreme. How beautiful. When you have that vision of God, then everything goes. Yatato yapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschita indriyani pramatini haranti prasabam mama. O Arjuna, the unruly passions gain control over the mind of even a well-disciplined and discerning man. The aspirant constantly fights with his wayward senses. In the beginning, he loses and wins. However, through determination, the scale tilts and he wins in the end. But he must always be on the guard, otherwise the sense objects, they will always ready to cause havoc to him. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta ashita matpara vaseye he yese indriyani tasya pragya pratishtita. He who worships me with single-minded devotion can control his senses and rest with his mind content centered in me. The fact he who has thus controlled his senses is called a stable-minded person. Dhyayato vishayam pumsa sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kama kama krodho vijayate krodha bhavati sammoha sammoha smriti brahma smriti brahm sad buddhi nasha bunat buddhi nasha pranashati. Arjuna, thought centered on objects of the senses gives birth to attachments. From attachment springs desires. Frustrated desires transforms itself into anger. Anger causes forgetfulness of what is right and what is wrong. Thus, together with the death of the conscience, brings in forgetfulness of all the instructions of the scriptures and the holy men. With the loss of this memory, a man is no longer able to discriminate between the good and bad, between what is abiding and what is temporary, and what is power of discernment is lost in him. That man, in the true sense, is truly a madman. Raga dveshu viyuktaistu vishaya indriyascharan atmani atmana vishera videyatma prasadam adhigachyati. But the self-controlled person, free from likes and dislikes, who moves among sense objects with his senses subdued, attains the peace and tranquility. Om Prathade sarva dukkanam hanirasyupajayate prasana cheta sohyasu buddhi paryavashishtate. With this calmness of mind thus attained, all sorrows of a person are set at rest, for the mind of such a tranquil person is soon conquered. Nasti buddhira yuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayanti shantir ashantasya kuta sukham. The undisciplined person is lacking in reason, nor can such a man have meditation. Without meditation, he cannot have peace. And how can one be happy without peace? Ah, how beautiful, isn't it? Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano no vidyate tasya haranti pragyam vayurnavam ivambasi. When the mind goes chasing one of the senses, that particular senses runs away with the man's intelligence, very much as the wind drives the barge on the water. The barge is without control. Tasmad yasya mahabaho nigrahitani sarvasya indriyani indriyartebhyas tasya pragya pratishtita. O thou strong-armed Arjuna, one whose senses have in all ways been withdrawn from their objects, has attained the state of serene wisdom. And Krishna is telling Arjuna, Arjuna, you almost there. You are leading to that point where you have the senses all under control. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sanisha pashyate muni. That which is nigh to beings, all beings, that to this disciplined man wakes. That which is in which all beings wake is nigh to the Atman, cognizing Muni. In other words, when a person, there's a nice explanation here, on the physical plane, the tiger sees well in the night, vice versa to man. One in a specific profession, example, a thief sees opportunities for stealing while others are oblivious to them. The mundane man sees the world as the end all of his life and makes all preparations for success in it. However, the spiritual man does not get involved with the permanency of the mundane, but focuses and rests peacefully in the self. He sees God in all earthly relationships. Apuryamanam machala pratishtam samudra apa pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam yam pravishanti sarve sashanti mapnoti na kama kami. The ocean remains full in its fullness, even after the rain water from all the rivers drain into it. It does not surge forward to cross the limits of the shoreline, but remains undisturbed in its totality. In the same way, the cries and hankerings of the ignorant man enters the sail and blends with him. It affects him not. It disturbs not his abiding peace. But peace eludes the man running after fleeting desires. Vihaya kamanye sarvam pumam charati nispriha nirmamo nirahankaram sashanti madigachati. The person who renounces all desires and goes about shaking himself free from attachment, egoism, and hankering for pleasures, attain peace. Esha brahmi stiti parta nainam prapya vimuyate stitva shamanta kalepe brahma nirvanam richati. O Arjuna, this is Brahma, stiti, resting in Brahma, the divine state, life eternal. Having once attained this, one becomes free from confusion, remaining steadfast in that state at the last hour when one attains to the divine bliss. How beautiful this is all about, eh? Om Sri Krishna Chandra Bhagwan Ki Jai. Devotees, this morning it's my humble attempt to bring this reading. Always reading Bhagavad Gita will shift your mind, as it was saying, from that mundane thinking, and it goes on to the divine. So this morning, let us keep this message in mind. Let us watch what we think. What we think will become our mind, and our mind is who we are. Let us have a divine mind. This morning we'll continue with doing the Aarati. It's a continuation of surrendering the mind, and we want to remove ourselves from all the sorrows that we have. The Buddha, this is his teaching, to remove sorrow by following the middle path. Christ, he did the same thing. He came and he lived a very simple life, like Swami Parameshananda ji. Simple life. The Buddha gave up his kingdom. The Christ was roaming around. He took birth in a manger. Swami Parameshananda took birth in just a village. He came as God, and throughout his life he never fell. But his Leela is so powerful, and that he taught us how to stay in that place of Godhood. During this period from Trishul Purnima to Mark Purnima, do some austerity and limit yourself. Do something that is conducive, for bodily enjoyment. Give that up for a month, and then you'll see a transformation. This is what we call tapasya. Tapas vibhyodiko yogi, jnani vyopi matodika, karma vyashtadiko yogi, tasmad yogi bhavarjana. This sloka is complementing what we read just now. That although we will do the austerity, it is preparation for us to be in a relationship with God. Although we listen to the scriptures just now, they will take us a far, far way. And also we would have do all the rituals, asking for this and asking for that, for worldly pleasures. But yes, do all that. But Arjuna, come to me direct. And this is what we need to do. The Aarati is just that. Let us surrender our body, mind, and intellect and ego. And yes, this morning, Hare Guru Shankara Shiva Shambho, Hare Guru Shankara Shiva Shambho, Om Hare Guru Shankara Shiva Shambho, Hare Guru Shankara Shiva Shambho, हर गुरु शंकर शिव शंभो, हर गुरु शंकर शिवा शंभो. Let us bring the holy waters from all the rivers. Om Gange cha Yamune chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmada Sindhu Kaveri Jale asmin snanidim kuru. Om Kurukshetra Gaya Ganga Prabhasa Pushkarani cha Tirtanyatani Punyani Kale Bhavantu. Om Amrito Pasternamasi Swaha, Amrita Pira Namasi Swaha. Om Satyam Yashasri Mayesratam Swam. Om Shano Devi Ravishtaya Apo Bhavant Pitaye Shano Ravi Sravantuna. Om Vak Vak, Om Prana Prana, Om Chakshu Chakshu, Om Srotram Srotram, Om Nabhi, Om Hridayam, Om Kantaha, Om Siraha, Om Bahovyam Yashubalam, Om Karatala Karaprishte, Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachate, Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Dhyanamoolam Gurumurti, Puja Moolam Guru Padam, Mantra Moolam Gururvakyam, Moksha Moolam Guru Kripa. Om. Join with me as we do this arti. Imagine you're doing it. Your participation, Mansika Puja, mind Puja. Om Sahasra Shirisha Purusha Sahasrakshu Sahasrapad Sarumin Sarvato Sritva Atyatishta Dashangulam. Om Sarvatah Pani Param Tat Sarvato Akshi Shiro Mukham Sarvatah Srutimalloke Sarvamavritya Tishtati. Om Jyoti Shama Pita Jyoti Tamasaha Paramuchyate. Jnanam Gyam Jnanagamyam Riddhi Sarvasya Vishtitam. Om Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivashaho Sharanam Sure. Pravaa Pralayasthanam Nidhanam Bijam Abhayam. Om Tvamadi Deva Purusho Purana Tvamasya Visvasya Param Nidhanam. Tvamapaya Swasvata Dharma Gupta Sanatanastam Purusho Madhumi. Om Pita Silokasya Characharasya Tvamasya Pujasya Garurgaryam. Natvatsamo asti abhyadika kuto anyulokatraye apiya pratimam prabhao. Om Karo Jaya Guru Om Karo Jaya Shiva 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 Om. Om Karo Jaya Guru Om Karo Jaya Shiva Om. Karo Jaya Guru Om Karo Jaya Shiva Om. Karo Jaya Guru Om Karo Jaya Shiva Om. Om Karo Jaya Guru Om Karo Jaya Shiva Om. Karo Jaya Guru Om. Karo Jaya Shiva Om. Karo Jaya Guru Om. Karo Jaya Shiva Om. Om Karo Jaya Guru Om. Karo Jaya Shiva Om. Om Karo Jaya Guru Om. Karo Jaya Shiva Om. Om Karo Jaya Guru Om. Karo Jaya Shiva Om. Karo Jaya Guru Om. Karo Jaya Shiva Om. Karo Jaya Guru Om. Karo Jaya Shiva Om. Om Karo Jaya Guru Om. Karo Jaya Shiva Om. Karo Jaya Guru Om. Karo Jaya Shiva Om. Karo Jaya Guru Om. Karo Jaya Shiva Om. Om Karo Jaya Guru Om. Karo Jaya Shiva Om. Om Karo Jaya Guru Om. Karo Jaya Shiva Om. All right. Now that we surrender ourselves, with the agarbatti we surrender the sense of smell. With the diya we surrender the sense of sight. With the shell, the sense of taste with water in it. And then with the singing, we surrender the sense of sound, hearing, and also chanting of mantras, and also the flowers is adoration to God, and the taste, water is taste, of course, and then with the Trishul, we surrender innate qualities, sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. So in the process, devotees, we surrender all our body, mind, intellect, and ego. And what we left with is consciousness. And this is the purpose of our doing arati and doing prayers and singing bhajans. Join me as we do the closing prayer, adorations to Guru. In our adoration, we build our bhakti and our faith. Om Jnanam Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namo. Om Mantra Satyam Puja Satyam Satyam Deva Niranjana Gurur Vakyam Sara Satyam Satyameva Paramam Param. Om Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatparam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namam. Om Pitri Matri Surira Bandhu Vidyatirtani Devata Natulyam Guruna Segram Sparshayet Paramam Param. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurur Deva Param Brahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Om Dhyana Moolam Gurur Murti Puja Moolam Guru Param Mantra Moolam Gurur Vakyam Mokshamulam Guru Kripa. Om Brahmanandam Paramasukaram Kevalam Dhyanamurti Dantwatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyadhilaksham. Om Ekam Nityam Bhimalamachalam Sarvara Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Guru Kripahi Kevalam Guru Kripahi Kevalam. Om Guru Kripahi Kevalam Guru Kripahi Kevalam. Om Guru Kripahi Kevalam Guru Kripahi Kevalam Guru Kripahi Kevalam Guru Kripahi Kevalam. Bolo Sisi Guru Maharaj ki jai. Om. Well, it's time that we take some of the water that we wash the paduka as a sign of surrendering ourselves to the Almighty. Here, take some and pass it over our body. Isn't it a beautiful morning that we are all together listening to the greatness of the Lord? We have the capabilities, devotees are becoming the Creator. As a matter of fact, it's already in us. This life that is keeping us alive is the Creator. But when we remove what was created, the illusion, then that's what we're left with. This is the intention that we should always have when we go and we do prayers. Like Krishna Bhagavan said, meditation, find peace in meditation. And when you get that peace in meditation, you'll see how your life will be transformed. Well, it's a pleasure to being with you. And here is the altar. Take the blessings. Hari Om Shanti Shanti Hari Om.